Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. It's where we interview strategic entrepreneurs who inform and inspire you in your solopreneur or small company journey. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show.
Hi, and welcome to the next edition of the Grow Your Biz Show. This is episode number 70, and I'm Paul Madsen, your host. Thanks for joining us. Hey, today I have with me Monica Sempek of Monica Sempek Photography. Monica, thanks for being on the program.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, glad you could come out today. We have known each other in the social media circles and bumped into each other a little bit in some community events, but finally we got it together so you can be on our show.
I'm so excited.
Well, I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you on a snowy day here today. Hey, Monica, I'm just going to jump right in.
Wonderful.
Tell us, if you would, what business are you in?
I am in the business of capturing meaning and emotion at your nonprofit or corporate event.
In the business of capturing meaning and emotion of my corporate or nonprofit events. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Well, what does that mean? I mean, tell me about capturing meaning.
I'm an event photographer. By capturing photos that would have emotion and meaning and relevance to what's going on at that event, it draws attention for your next event. It creates memories that will last a lifetime, and it just really showcases that I want you to feel as if you're at that event when you look at those images.
Well, and I have seen your work. In fact, I've seen you work at an event and how you gathered the groups up, and I saw some pictures from that event, and you definitely did. You captured the emotion, and I looked at the picture, and I remember where I was in the room.
Exactly.
And the feelings that were going on at that event that day, and you got it, you nailed it, and there we are, and like you say, I can remember it as I go along anytime I look at that picture. Is that unique of your perception? I mean, is that something you think is something unique about you?
I think for one, my experience in the event arena, I've been doing it for many years, but I also think that being a woman or being somebody that is relatable and smiling and friendly, it's just natural for me to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm Monica." While having a camera in front of me, people smile at you the whole time.
Yeah.
And when people are uneasy, I have a way of saying, "Relax, it's just me. I'm just capturing it, and I want to capture who you are inside."
Well, all that combines together to capture the meaning and the emotions. And tell me about the corporate versus nonprofit. You said both in your sentence there,
Right.
in your opening moment. Do you do both kinds of events?
Yes, I spend a great bit of time in the nonprofit arena, and I have a nonprofit rate that is about a third less than my for-profit rate. But my mission behind that is to help the smaller nonprofits or even the larger nonprofits share their story. And by capturing those images that are real and raw and relevant, will help bring in more awareness and bring in more people to their next event. So creating awareness is a big part of it.
Well, I can see the importance of that. I mean, so often you think there's, I mean, especially in today's age with social media and instant sharing, Instagram and Pinterest and all these other kinds of things where people can share images so easily. Our nonprofits, I mean, they want to tell their story, right?
Correct.
And they want to grow their base, their subscribers, their members, their donors, and so on to do more of their services. Are they getting better at being aware of somebody like you who can really capture what they're all about?
Yeah, on the flip side of that, you still have the corporate, which still has the same reason to hire.
They want to grow too.
Yes, exactly. And I think that seeing the difference between having a professional photographer versus your staff with a camera or a cell phone, it makes a huge
okay, boss,
difference.
I got the event covered. You know.
Let your staff enjoy the event and let them focus on what they need to do. Bring in a professional event photographer who can focus on what they're there to do. So I just need an agenda, the important people, and I'm on my way, and I'm one less person. If I see a dirty table, I'm going to help pick up clean it off.
You make
And
that-
the reason behind that is so that the pictures look nicer.
Well, good point.
But,
Good point. Yeah.
But it's just encouraging people to have a great time.
You're always
and
aware of the environment and the backdrop and so on. So
Always.
You
You're
bet.
always on your toes when you're an event photographer.
Sure. Well, and that kind of leads up to my next question, which is the why. Everybody wants. I think the more people know about your why, the motives of a small business person. Why are you in this business, Monica?
Working in the corporate realm, I always felt something was missing. I always wanted more. I was always, Monica, go sit back in your office. Monica, we're not perky enough. Monica, you're too cheerful. I hear it all the time. And being that
Monica this,
go-getter,
Monica that,
excited,
Monica
yeah.
this.
And knowing, okay, this is not, and I loved what I did and the experiences I did, but something was always missing. And so
What kind of work did you do?
I was in sales. I was in the water industry for 7 years and
Okay.
then went out to just sales in general and business development, helping people grow their business
Okay.
is what I did.
Okay.
And so I decided I need to do this. I have such a following and so involved in the community. I didn't want to work for companies anymore where I felt like my sales pitch wasn't matching what was really happening.
Who you really were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would never
Didn't
want to
wanna feel
let
like a
down.
phony kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't want to let down my partners in the community and things. Integrity was so important, and I didn't really have control over whatever it was that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the main reason I first started to leave my business, and then I was working part-time because I was afraid. Fear is such a liar. And
That's
I was
good. Well,
afraid.
fear is such a liar. I
Yeah.
want to write that down.
It's a song that's called
Yeah.
Fear is a Liar.
Okay.
But, and it's true. And so I was working part-time and then working more and more and more and realizing my dreams of starting this business is getting further and further. So I shoot for Chariots for Hope. And we did a blessing.
And what is Chariots of Hope?
Chariots for Hope is a local nonprofit in the community that gives vehicles, transportation to people in need. And they partner with many different people in the community, and they have sponsors in that. And so what will happen is a bunch of people will gather together, and they will trick or somehow get that recipient there, and then he will walk out, and everybody goes, surprise! And there's a big red bow on vehicle for them that day.
Wow.
And he come around the corner, and his name was Charles. I'll never forget him. Surprise! And the tears and this big grown man just falling down his face, and just being able to capture that emotion. It still gives me goosebumps to this day.
And you were retained. You had a
Yeah.
side hustle of a side business of Monica's Impact Photography on the side while you still had a day job.
Yes.
But yet you were retained to capture this event.
Yes, and I've shot for Chariots for a while. It's my gift to them because it actually is a gift to me.
Right.
But
Right.
shooting that event, seeing the emotion, and then seeing the pictures, and then we went back inside and he called his mom,
Yeah.
and all the tears and all that, being able to capture that emotion and that meaning. So if you weren't able to be there, you would be able to feel like you were there. And that's when I decided, his name was Charles, he is why I started my business. I walked away from my part-time job, I met with somebody, and I said, it's time, and I jumped.
That's.
Best thing I ever did.
I can see by your face that it means a lot to you. You're tearing up a little bit, almost tearing up me here. I'll have to go back to your website and look at those pictures because I'm guessing they capture the meaning and the emotion and the feelings of that day.
Yes.
And that event, giving me the goosebumps, made you inspired to make the leap.
Yes, it did.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
a fantastic story.
It is the meaning behind it, and that's where I came up with my lens, your memory, but their story.
Perfect.
So now my tagline, since time has come down, is my lens, your story. But it's about capturing those stories to share those events, regardless if it's a corporate or if it's a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to feel like you're there. And when you use that from a business development, sharing those stories, emotion brings in money, emotions brings in feeling, emotion brings in integrity, emotions bring back repeat business.
Well, why do people, I mean, I had a niece, God bless her, get married last summer, and there's a photographer there, and I don't know how many thousands of dollars was spent on those thousands of pictures. This girl's beautiful, her groom's beautiful, and these two were for Bride magazine. And my point is, pictures capture the emotion, and that's what you do. They captured thousands of pictures, and it was great. It's what you do, and it's your why, it sounds like.
Yes.
And, well, what's neat about that, I want to expand just a little bit, is that so many of the people perhaps watching this show are forced into being a solopreneur, forced into being a small business on their own, or a one-person business, or self-employment of some sort. In your case, it wasn't that way. You finally said, I have my meaning, I have my calling, and now it's time for me to do what?
Yes, start my business.
And you did. Well, that's a fantastic story.
Thank you.
Well, that's really neat, Monica. Tell me, there are scads of photographers out there. Hey, I'm a photographer, right? I can take
mom
pictures.
with a camera.
A mom with a cell phone, yeah. And you can do a lot with the cell phone anymore, with editing and all that kind of thing. Again, you can post it everywhere, and you can think you're a photographer in about 12 seconds, right?
True.
So what differentiates you, Monica, from the hordes of other photographers out there? What makes Monica Sempak Photography different than the others?
I think it comes down to what you capture behind the lens. For the longest time, somebody had said to me, Monica, you're just going to be another mom with a camera. That's why I said that 3 years prior to me starting my business.
Yeah.
And I stopped. And I stopped pursuing my dream. And
You stopped because they said that?
3 years prior, yeah, because
Oh, my.
at that time, I didn't have a why. I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing.
Wow.
I just knew that I loved taking pictures. So that's why I first started taking pictures in the community. When I finally decided to jump, there was nothing anybody could have said that would stop me. The confidence I had gained, the connections that I had gained. But as I was working at that bakery and getting burned,
Oh, wait.
because it is not where I belong. Doing something where you know you didn't belong, even though I loved what I was, it was just a part-time thing.
Yeah.
But what makes me different is what I capture. I can be next to somebody gave me a piece of advice that really hit home. Don't let the fear of what you don't know stop you from doing what you do know. And that's what was holding me back. Somebody would have a better camera. Somebody would have 20 years experience. But people weren't hiring me or inviting me to come in and capture their event because
you have an XYZ camera.
Correct.
They don't care.
They didn't care at all.
No.
But in my mind, that was one of those fears that was holding me back.
We build up walls and barriers, don't we?
I didn't go to school to be a photographer.
Right.
Nobody ever asked me how much education I had to be a photographer.
Yeah.
And it was, when you have a calling and you have a gift like that, somebody had asked me one time, Monica, are you getting paid to shoot this event? And I said, no. And she said, why? And I said, because God gave me this gift, so I'm going to gift it to others. And she said, I call BS on that. And she goes,
She said that?
Yes,
And
she was a pastor from Chicago, and she said
and what'd you say back to her?
And I said, of course, I'm going to come up with another excuse. I said, well, I didn't have the proper training. And she said, God gave you that gift to make a living. There are plenty of ways to get training.
Okay.
And
experience too.
Experience,
this is
yes.
One of the best
but
trainers is, yeah.
In today's society, there's just ask people to be a mentor. Surround yourself with like-minded, positive people, but stop letting those lies stop you from doing it.
Right.
And so what makes me different, back to what you originally said, is what I capture and my genuine passion behind what I am capturing.
Well, and you've already hinted at this also. We talked about, I don't know the industry, but I assume maybe a majority of photographers, professional photographers, are men?
Yes.
And you're obviously not.
In the professional, in the corporate realm.
Corporate photography,
right.
okay.
And so I'm a corporate event and corporate content
Creator,
Shop Mondays, and I am not a portrait photographer.
Right.
I do portraits, but that is not my main realm.
Right,
There are
right.
portrait photographers who don't do weddings, or portrait photographers who don't do events. They shoot the moms, they shoot the
Right.
families, they
Kids,
shoot
sports
right.
kids, sports
Right,
photos,
and
yeah.
so there is a difference in the different categories, you know.
Right.
I shoot small, intimate weddings, or sometimes I can shoot a bigger one with the second photographer. But again, I belong in the corporate realm.
Right. And again, what you said earlier, the female thing, I mean, women
Yes.
have a stereotype, I think, in society of being more intuitive, of being more feeling, more emotional. How does that help you when you go into an event?
I think, honestly, in general, women or men are more comfortable with the photographer who is a woman.
Okay.
I could be totally
Why
wrong,
is
but
that?
just I spend a lot of time with empowering women, and that could just be. I don't really have an answer for that because I mean it's nothing against male photographers. The women that I've worked with, they just seem more at ease, more calm, and capturing that real who they are, that personality inside, that beauty inside that comes through. I don't know if women can relax well enough with a man that they don't know to bring that beauty out.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to your intuition, to your emotions, and again, pulling that out. And we're going back to the same old phrase, capture the emotion, capturing
Exactly.
the feeling. And I think just from studying your work and seeing you in action, I think that is what you do
Right.
well and along the way. And so another thing I think that we
It's a
talked
different
about.
style.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, that's it.
Being a woman photographer, even my style is different.
Sure.
Yes, versus compared to with a man.
Sure.
So please, by all means, I don't want to put down men
Well-
photographers. It's just my niche.
If I was a professional photographer, I'd probably like, okay, you get over here, line up, smile, get over here, you next.
Chin here, turn. Where I'm like, be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that hair being out of place. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Well, and another thing I know about you, and you've already told this along the way, I want to get a little bit more detail on this, is that makes you different. We're still on that question. Tell us about your connections. I mean, you shot photography for many years before you went full time.
Correct.
And during those years, tell us about the relationships that you formed, which helped you grow and be able to make that jump.
When I meet with new business owners and people in the community that are talking about their sales are slow or different things, and every business has a slow period. January seems to be a slow period for photographers. If you're not out and about in the community, your phone's not ringing, it's because you're not out and about. Your biggest leverage that you would have are your connections, your people those relationships that you've built. And Omaha is all about networking. And I've only lived in Omaha, but being out there, meeting people, and then honestly, it's how you treat the people that you meet. You know, you honor them, you come through with what you say you're going to do.
Right.
You know, you treat them with respect and dignity and integrity. And really cherishing those relationships. Go up and say, hi, how are you today?
Yes.
Oh, you look very nice today.
Yes.
You know? And
Build that warmth, build that respect.
yeah, but genuinely, that's who you are, and just kind of build that type of a relationship with people. And also, I think when you're out and about, it's not about, hi, I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
You know, listen.
Right.
Listen.
Oh, you said the key word.
Yeah, listen.
The key word.
You know, everybody has a pain point. Listen. Somebody didn't like their pictures from before. Or somebody doesn't like something about their smile. If I never stopped to ask,
Yeah.
you know, and if I didn't hear what they were saying,
Yeah.
even sometimes when they're not saying it. And I think that is so important. And
Well,
I
again,
think
that's back to your empathy, your intuition, and those kind of things that help you bring that emotion together, I think, and bring
Right.
that person out. And so, yes, those connections, the familiarity you have with people out there is important. I also want to drill down just a little bit more on how those connections, how you built your reputation via those connections. I mean, building connections for people who are launching their own business, you know, it's not just about, I get this on LinkedIn all the time. People, and the more the show is on, the more people are approaching me to link in with them, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know.
Sounds like a song.
That's a song, yeah. At any rate, the point is, I'm real open. I link in with everybody, and as long as whatever, most everybody. The point is that so often, as soon as you link in them, they send you a pitch right away. Paul, my company does this, 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 this. If you ever need this, 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 this. What's missing in that? What are they doing wrong?
They're not building a relationship
Bingo.
first.
They're not building the relationship.
Value those relationships, because at the end of the day, they're the ones, the referrals. They are the ones, the connections. They are the ones that know people that can get you where you want
Well,
to
these
be.
are what I heard you say. You don't. You start. You build 9 years, whatever. How many years you built before you jump full time.
Yes.
We had Amy Mayer on the show. She had a side hustle of building her wellness practice for about that long as well before she went full time. Got story after story like that. And in your case, photography is such a relationship thing, especially
Yes.
the kind that you do. That was the formula that worked for you, right?
Correct, it is. And, but you always need to be professional as well.
Right.
You know, and again, honoring those relationships, asking for help when you need it, but letting people know what you do. Surround yourself with people that genuinely care about your success. And more importantly, give back along the way.
But they care about you because it's a two-way street, right?
Give back.
Yes.
Always
you,
give
you-
back.
You said that. That's
Yeah,
right.
and so-
Sure. Well, let's move on. Another question I'd like to ask you've had this full-time for 2 years?
Yep, 2
That's
years.
great. And tell us, no business is without its issues, especially a solopreneur business like yours and mine. What speed bumps have you hit along the way, and how have you conquered them?
The biggest speed bump was just learning to jump. Just do it. Just do it. The next thing is, you know, I never thought I would have a studio, an event space a year in after starting my business.
Tell us just a little bit about that.
A year in after starting my business, I went to an event. Somebody introduced me to somebody, and she says, you know, Monica, I have this space I think will be perfect for you. And I'm like, no. No way.
I don't want rent.
Yeah. And then I decided again, sign that lease. Honey, guess what I did today? You know? And I'll never forget, he goes, you can't put us into bankruptcy. That was a big speed bump.
Yeah.
Just bringing the husband along.
Yeah.
And I said, you're never allowed to say that again.
Well, right. Don't-
Right? And it never even entered my mind,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
so having that support behind you. I had my ribbon cutting. My mom fell the Saturday after the ribbon cutting. Therefore, there's another speed bump.
Oh, my.
So I became her full-time caregiver,
Oh,
or
I
taking
understand
care
about
of her.
that, yes.
Another speed bump.
Yeah.
You just keep on going. And now, second year into business, after those cobwebs have kind of settled down, I need to have a steady income stream.
Right.
How am I going to build steady income stream?
Right, and it's hard with the photography business
Yes,
because
and-
it's very event-oriented, right?
And so I'm finding different ways to bring in a monthly subscription.
Okay.
I'll be leasing the studio for events, but I'll also be leasing it to other photographers who don't have a studio. I'm also going to be a photographer on demand, or photographer for hire. So instead of hiring a photographer for your staff, you will be allocated so many hours or so many pictures per month. For me, I just run over there, grab the pictures for you. And just different ways to bring in, generate steady income.
So if I understand it right, you have a space that you'll rent out for other events.
Correct.
You have space that you'll let other photographers use for hire.
Correct.
You'll have a photographer on demand,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And what was the fourth one?
Those were those
pretty
three,
much it? Okay.
yes.
And to even out your income. So a big speed bump that a lot of us have as entrepreneurs, of course, is cash flow. And so you are
Exactly.
coming up with answers. Did you think of those, that you'd have those answers or solutions or ideas a year ago or 2 years ago?
To be honest with you, the photographer on demand, that's something I've been thinking about all along.
But now the time is right.
But the
and
time
now you're
wasn't
settled,
right, yeah.
set up to make it happen.
It is, and I just wasn't ready. You'll have peace in your heart when you're ready, and then you know.
I love that.
You know, and my brand new website is out. My new
Which is what?
MonicaSempekPhotography.com.
Okay, and that'll be on the
I
screen.
have a new logo.
Okay.
And a new brand, and we're launching it this week, actually.
Sure.
And so please go out and check it out. It shows who I am and the different services that I offer.
Right, okay.
And so
Okay.
now is the time
Now is the
to
time.
move to that next level.
Well, and it's incremental, isn't it? The
It
growth.
is.
I mean, you've experienced some things, you've gotten out there, and now it's the next time for the next step, the next level. As we wrap up, Monica, why don't you tell other entrepreneurs, other wannabe entrepreneurs, other people who've made the jump and need to expand their footprint? What advice do you have for those starting and those who are growing their small businesses?
Looking back from where I was, that girl that first started that business, to where I am now.
Just
Confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence in knowing what you're doing. You need to know your why. You need to ask for help. You need to surround yourself with positive people. And you need to do the homework. You need to have a business plan. If you fail to plan, my business plan that first year doesn't look anything like where I am now.
Isn't that something?
But do the research so you know an event photography is supposed to continue to grow, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, corporate photography the same. You know, and reach out to people that want to support you. I think that is the biggest one. And then at the end of the day, people are going to tell you this, people are going to tell you this, people are going to tell you this. At the end of the day, that is your business.
Yeah.
Your
you have to make
business.
the execution, right?
You are responsible for the ups and you are responsible for the downs. And it's how you're going to handle it.
Well, there you have some excellent advice from Monica of monicasimpactphotography.com.
Yes.
And if you need an event photographer who can capture the emotion and the feeling and preserve that event for the long haul, Monica's your person. She's learned a lot along the way. She's made the jump, and you couldn't see the top of the steps when you started, but now you're on that way, and you're on that trajectory. Monica, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad to have you today. And be sure to tune in next week for another show of the Grow Your Biz Show. Also check out growmedia.com, where you can learn about how we help solopreneurs, help small businesses to find their most profitable niches, and our upcoming retreat coming up in April as well. I'm Paul with Monica, and we'll see you next time.